listening to the Video Game and Nerd Trivia Podcast with Tony D. Video Game and Nerd Trivia Podcast, your episodic dose of trivia covering all things video games and nerdy. Now, here's your host, Tony D.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Video Game and Nerd Trivia Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be going over another Minisode, and today's Minisode are going to be about video games based on board games or party games. And as always, for Minisodes, same as our regular episodes, but there are only 10 questions instead of the regular 30. And the way it works is I'll ask you a question, give you 5 seconds of silence, and then tell you the answer. Alright, let's play. Round 1. Which video game was based on a board game where you try to sink the other side's naval fleet with sending missiles to certain coordinates? That would be Battleship. Question 2. This video game is based on a board game that's a cross-country train adventure where you collect and play matching train cards to claim railway routes connecting cities. What game is this? This is Ticket to Ride. Question 3. The most famous catchphrase of this game is "Wood for sheep." What game is this? This is Settlers of Catan, or just Catan. Question 4. Some of the pieces of this board game are the king, queen, rook, knight, and pawn. Which game is this? This is, of course, chess. Question 5. This is a famous board game that gets adapted to movies and video games alike, where you must solve who committed the murder. Which game is this? This would be Clue. Question 6. To remove a piece from the board, you must jump over their piece with yours. It's usually a red versus black affair, and once you get to the other side, you become a king. What game is this? This is Checkers. Question 7. This is a mobile version of Scrabble that took the cell phone world by storm and allowed you to play with people asynchronously across the internet. Which game is this? This is Words with Friends. Question 8. This is basically the Jackbox version of the party game Pictionary. What game is this? This is one of my favorites, Drawful. Question 9. The mascot for this game is Milburn Pennybags. What game is this? This is Monopoly. And finally, question 10. This war-based strategy board game got adapted to a video game back in the early 90s during the era of real-time strategy games. The name of this game is just one word. What game is this? This is Risk. Alright, that's the end of this very short episode. Hopefully you enjoyed that. There's a lot of video games out there based on existing party games or board games, or they put their own spin to it, like Words with Friends and Drawful. And especially during the post-COVID era, a lot of these video games, more recently, the board game types, have been pushed online, and lots of people are getting to play that through, Twitch streaming and joining games like that. So really recommend you guys look into that. Actually recommend Jackbox. The games there are made for party situations and also very friendly to play over the internet or on streaming, so those are really fun games. But yeah, if you like this episode, please rate us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Again, you can always email me at vgntpodcast@gmail.com, suggest topics for the future, and I'll give you a shout out. And thank you so much again for listening. And until next time, trivia on.